Welcome to the end is in sight. We're plodding along here and getting toward the very end. I know that after month 9, 8, and 7, where we worked on that one big applique border, you're ready to move on and do some of this other fun stuff. I'm primarily a piecer myself, so I was really eager and glad when I could get back to piecing. So anyway, we're getting close to the end. So, which is really great, and I know that you're excited to have that done too. I do have the quilt on the wall behind me, my top, and it will be there in the next video for month 11. But it is going with me to Houston. I'll be heading down to Houston in 3 weeks from tomorrow. I'll be teaching down there. I have 3 full classes that I'm just very excited about. And I'm taking the quilt top with me because it's going to its new owner. I have sold the quilt top, and she's going to get it quilted and have it finished. And that'll be great because it's one less unfinished top that lives in my house and a wonderful new quilt for the new owner. And I'm thrilled that she wanted it. So that's going with me, and it won't be here when we meet again when I'm back in December for the final live. So there it is right now, and I'll take some more good pictures of it before I leave. Just going to give it another minute or two of a little chit chat. As I said, I'm a piecer, so I'll show you one of the things, something I've been doing in piecing. This is a little block that is a replica of an antique quilt that I bought. I just really love it. I've simplified the block. The original block was all hand pieced and was made from Y seams, and I knew that today's quilter was not going to want to do that. So I've made it, it looks exactly the same as the original block, but I have made the points from flying geese instead of Y seams. I always go backwards here. There's a flying goose and there's a flying goose. Anyway, so this is a pattern that I'm in the process of writing. I'm going to teach it on a cruise with Stitch in Heaven in 2025. It'll be September of 2025. We're going to go to New England and Canada, and it'll be round trip out of Cape Liberty in Bergen, New Jersey. So once it opens up, it won't be available for you to register for another several months at least. But on my blog, I always make sure every one of those big announcements come because these cruises sell out. And if you want to be included, and I've already had several people tell me that's a cruise I want to go on, that'll be great. I'm really looking forward to being in New England in the fall to see that. So that's one of the little things I've been working on. I've got to get I'm almost done. I have 36 of these blocks total that I need, and I think 34 of them or 32 are done, so I got a couple more to do. And then I got sucked down the rabbit hole with the Repro Quilt Lover, which is a Instagram person and a Facebook. I just love this great little, it's an Ohio Star block. It's little, it's a 6-inch block, and she has an antique quilt that are really funky the way the colors and the fabrics were placed. So she's putting it out there, the 20 blocks, and you try to replicate, especially if you have a substantial stash of reproduction fabrics as I do, you try to replicate it as close as possible. So I've been playing around with those too and having a good time. So then the only other thing to tell you is last week I had a wonderful beach vacation with my husband. I love the beach. He does not. We get to go maybe every 7 years or so. The last time I had a real beach vacation was 7 years ago. But this time I asked a few months ago, I really wanted to go to the beach, and he agreed if we could go to Panama City Beach because we'd had a real good visit there in 2019 when I taught for the St. Andrews Bay Quilt Guild for the second time. I've been back to them twice. And we had a wonderful stay down there, and he remembered a great meal he had had at a restaurant called the Grand Marlin. If we could go to Panama City Beach, he was all about it. So we did. And my blog this Sunday will have all the information about the beach, pictures of the food we ate and the condo we stayed in. Anyway, it was great. So, okay. So let's talk about month 10 of Homeward Bound. It involves making the pieced border, and this pieced border is made from half square triangles, and it is very, very similar to month 5. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. So those of you've made month 5, month 10 is not going to be a challenge. There is, however, one little part of it that has some applique, a couple of parts. There's some small squares, I guess they're small rectangles and larger rectangles. And so I changed mine a little, and I'll show you in a minute when I share my screen here and tell you what I did. But so when you see a picture of mine, and the newsletter today has a picture of my large rectangle, it is not the same as the pattern. It's what I had to do to solve a problem. So let me show that to you. Share my screen. And go to here. Okay, so here's my blog. This is for this month, the month 10, Homeward Bound. And the picture I'm talking about is this one right here. Let me click on it, make it bigger for you. You can see. Okay, so this is a large rectangle. It finishes at 4 by 10, so 4.5 by 10.5. And in the pattern instructions that I worked from, it told you to cut every one of these little bias stems, which are 1/4 inch finished, the exact same size, and which is small. And that was fine for the squares that are in the outside corner, but it's the wrong size for these large rectangles because the pattern designer, Sarah Fielke, intended for this bias stem to go under this heart. So you see, it would need to be longer. These were only cut 3.5 inches, and they needed to be cut more like 5 to go under this heart. But I didn't realize that because the heart pattern isn't available until month 11. So I was working from month 10 instructions. So there are 4 of these large rectangles. I had all 4 of them with the 2 short pieces of bias stem already machine appliqued in place. And when I realized that that was not going to work, I was just thought, oh no, how much time is that going to take me to unstitch by machine applique all of those stems? And then I have to make more stems because I didn't have more stems already made. And I thought about it for a day and went, you know what? I'm going to solve this the easy way. So instead of ripping these off of here and putting a longer piece on that would go under these hearts, or creating a really big fat heart that would have covered up those stems, which would have been hard to do, I simply said, you know what? I'm going to stick a berry on the end of those. And that's what I did. So that was my solution. This is my adaptation, my variation of Sarah's design. It is not the pattern design. Let me see in here if you can see the original pattern, the real one. Well, this is my quilt as well. But I like what I did with mine because here there's mine. It's got those 2 circles, and they actually mimic the pattern itself, which has the circles on the small side. So I always say it's your quilt. You get to decide. When I got this done, I was perfectly happy with that. The only thing that I ended up changing from the kit is that this fabric here that I used for those berries was the same fabric I think that was intended for the heart, and then I simply changed the heart fabric. Anyway, but the blog also mentions what the different fabrics are, how many you need, and this kind of thing, because that information is not easily ascertained from the pattern. So I've got that all in the blog for you as well, so that you'll see that. But okay, so let me go back to ourselves here. And we'll come. Okay. So I just wanted to point that out, that you don't look at mine and go, oh, that must be how the pattern is done, because that is not how the pattern is done. But we corrected the pattern. We got it corrected when I realized what had happened. And this was 6 months ago that I got mine done and realized as soon as I got the heart pattern, I went, oh, no, this is not going to work. So we wrote back and got Sarah to fix the pattern. So what you've been provided is the correct pattern. Should you choose to make those long stems that go under the heart, you'll have the correct size. Okie dokie. The next thing is, as you are laying out those triangles, the half square triangles, just watch for the orientation of the lights and darks if you want the pattern, your quilt, to look just like the pattern. I didn't do that on the first one that we made in month 5, the first pieced border from those half square triangles, because I didn't have the kit at hand yet when I was working on that. That was a long time ago. Gosh, it was a year ago I was working on that, getting those half square triangles made. And so my darks and lights aren't placed exactly in that month 5 round, but in month 10 I did follow the pattern. And that simply, she has the darker triangles on the outer side and the lighter ones on the inside. And it forms a visual border for it, which I do really like. So you'll want to watch for that while you're laying this out. Another big reminder, and I will say this each time now from now and November and December, as we get close to the end of the year, these patterns are free to STAR members for the calendar year December 31st, 2023. The contract that the Quilt Show has with the designer is for us to have exclusive use only for this calendar year. And after December 31st, 2023, we will no longer own the rights to the pattern. We cannot give them to you. No one on the Quilt Show, no member of the Quilt Show can give you the patterns. And every year this happens, and sometimes it's years later that people write us and say, please, 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 but my hard drive crashed. I got a new computer and I couldn't bring over the files. My thumb drive that I saved them on, it's lost or it doesn't work. We're sorry, but we can't give you those things once the copyright restrictions are such that we no longer have the rights to use them. So even if you haven't started, you have until December 31st to print, save, copy, whatever you want to do, every one of these patterns as a star member that you have that right. After December 31st, Sarah Fielke will get the rights to this pattern back and she will be able to sell it. She has not been able to do that up to this point. So she will have her pattern available for sale. And when people write me in the future months and say, whoa, I've lost month 10, please send me month 10. I can't send you month 10. I can give you the link to how to contact Sarah Fielke, and you can ask her how you can buy month 10 from her because she gets the rights back to those. So just a reminder, and I'll say it again in November and December, every year somebody says, I didn't know, and that I didn't have rights forever. So the things that will continue forever, my blogs, as long as Blogspot exists, and that's up there, my blogs will be out there, and on our website, my videos, these live videos will remain. Not Sarah's videos, not Sarah's patterns. Those will all go away December 31st, after December 31st, 2023. But so that's what's coming. Okay, my next big thing here, 3 weeks from tomorrow, I go down to Houston where I'm going to be on the faculty this year. I'll be teaching 3 classes, and I'm happy to say they're all full. But there's always a wait list. So please, if there's a class you thought that you might want to take, go ahead and sign up because things happen all the time. Get on the wait list. And then things happen right at the end and spaces become available. And you can email me. I will tell you the supply list is there. I can help you make sure that you're ready and all that kind of stuff. So I've heard from quite a few people already that they're excited. I've got 3 really good classes. And I'll be there for the entire week. I'm going down on October 28th, and I will be there until November 5th. If I see any of you that are there, if you see me around and about, please stop me and say hello. I'm always happy to meet our star members face to face. You know what I look like. I don't know what a lot of you look like. So it's just great to be able to see people and touch base. So that's what's coming up. That's very exciting for me here. I've shipped my teaching supplies already. And then I have 2 huge suitcases staged on the guest room bed where I have to hope that in the next 3 weeks, everything I still have to take with me is going to fit into those 2 big suitcases. So yeah, that's my next big chore, along with making my great little, I'm just so excited to finish up this little quilt and get that. It's not so little. It's about 60, 70 inches square once I get it done. Then I have to quilt it, get that ready. So okay, the next live is what I call a not so live. It will be pre-recorded, and because I will be in Houston then, it's going to air in early November, probably November 1st, which is a Wednesday. Alex will be in Houston as well for market, and she will have just gotten home about that day. So I'll talk with John in a little bit and see if they want to just put me in there for Wednesday, November 1st. But it's pre-recorded. It's not so live because I will be teaching, as I said. But I will, in the evenings, always check my email. I check the forum all the time, each, especially the first week of every month. I've checked the forum several times a day because that's when the questions pop up. So I will be looking there and be able to answer questions for you. It just won't be live answer to questions. I am eagerly awaiting receipt of the patterns and the kit for 2024. I'm supposed to get that soon, the kit very soon, and hopefully the patterns in the next week or 2. I'm eager to see those. I've seen the quilt. I know what it looks like. I've known actually for a year and a half what it looks like. It's really pretty. I'm excited about the kit that we're going to have for that. So I'm eager to get started on it as well. Of course, the show has already been taped and it will air January the 1st. the designer was able to be there. So I don't have to have my quilt ready by January 1st, thank goodness, because I would never make it with all these other things that I have to do. But I'll be able to keep ahead of everybody each month. I just have to keep ahead of you guys for about like a month to 2 months ahead. So that's my plan. And then I will be back live for on December 1st, which is a Friday, where we wrap up Homeward Bound. So we'll talk about that piano key border and that pieced border. It's not as simple as it looks. When I was studying the pattern back a year ago, now when I was working on the pattern and reading it and trying to double check everything, and it is hard to double check when you're not actually sewing, when you're just reading. But I spent more than 3 hours on month 12 trying to figure it out because the diagrams didn't match the instructions. And once I realized that and was able to figure that out, and then I said, okay, we've got to get the diagrams changed. And so I went back to Sarah and they worked on them again. And we finally ultimately got diagrams that actually do match for month 12, the written instructions. It goes together really well when you're able to use the diagrams to follow the instructions. And of course, it's still got some more stars. Hopefully you've got those made. I think we got those patterns in month 6. So if you hadn't gotten all of your remaining stars done, you could go back and get those finished up so that you'll be ready to go. I'm going to check and see if there are any questions here. Let me see what I can see here. Okay, yeah, there's a few. Let's see here. Oh, there's Melanie from San Antonio. Hello, Melanie. Roland Bobbin from Austin. I'll be in Austin. I'm coming down there in April. Going to be in Austin for a little while. I'm going to be in Victoria, Texas, and I'm going to be in Beaumont. That's in April. Aurora, New York. Hello there. Hey, Margot. How's my buddy Margot? Great to see you there. Southern Indiana. Ontario, Canada, our first international person there. Great. And Gail says she loves the berry idea. Yep, I did. You know, necessity is the mother of invention. I wasn't spending hours ripping off those stems when I could have a much simpler solution. All I had to do was make 8 more berries, and what the heck with all these berries? How hard was that? Kathy says I look so good. Well, thank you. I feel really, really good. And I am looking forward, so forward to Houston this year. There will be people I think they won't recognize me. So it's going to be great. And I'm down a total of 106 pounds. So yeah, doing good. And we got my blog up there so you can get directly to it. Oh, good. Susan says she's in my Thursday class. And that's Antique Rose Star. They picked, I send them a whole bunch of class. I think I sent 6 class selections and they pick the ones that they want. They picked my 3 favorites. So Antique Rose Star is on Thursday. Susan, we're going to have so much fun. That is so, so great. Okie dokie. Kathy asks about the directions on placing the leaves 1.5 inches from the edge on the rectangles, 1.5 inches from the first set. She thought that the leaves look crowded. It looks like the leaves crowd the heart in the center. I'm thinking I'll place them. Sure, you can place them wherever you want. There was an earlier one, and it might have been month 5, where people also thought that they thought that the leaves were a little bit either too far away or too close, whatever. It is your quilt. You design it the way you know what size shapes they are. If you want to stretch them out, if you want to make them a little bit shorter, the stems a little longer, whatever you like, is perfectly fine. So as long as they fit on the background fabric that you have, you'll be perfectly fine. You don't want that berry to get into the seam allowance. That's the only thing there. And Kelly says she's behind. Oh no, Kelly, you're just not ahead of everybody else yet. So my next international, we've got New Zealand in the house there. Jennifer's from New Zealand. It's the middle of the night in New Zealand, I think. So that's really great. Okay, I do go back and look on Facebook where I can see these. If you put a question on Facebook, I do see that. I can't usually on YouTube. I can't answer those. Sometimes I can. It depends on where they come up. But I do spend, later today, I'll go back and look in case and see that if we got some later questions or things that come up. And Washington, Rosa says hello from Washington. Eileen Keene, you're in Ireland, Eileen? You live in New York, right? What are you doing in Ireland? Cool. You must be on vacation too. Well, wonderful. Okay, let me go back to ourselves here. All right. So I've good. I brought this in well under time. We're getting close to the end, and it's, like I said, a lot of repetition and things that you know how to do. I know that those of you who have really hung in here and gotten this done, you're eager to get it done. There's a couple people who have posted pictures. One this morning, a picture went up. She figured out the piano key border herself, the outside border. Her top is done. She put a picture of it up on on the forum so she could see it, show it to everybody, which is really great. And now she's getting ready to send it to the long armor. So she may have the first one of these that's finished, because even mine's not finished. Like I said, my top has been sold to a wonderful person who wants it, and she's going to get it a long arm quilted too. So hers won't be finished for a while either. So that's really great. It's very rewarding to us at the Quilt Show when we see quilt shows that are these Block of the Month quilts are winning awards. And just the other day, I got a notice from the New England Quilt Museum, had an exhibit, and there was a show, and I think that's right. And the viewer's choice was taken by a Color My World quilt. That quilt has been very well received in shows along the way. Men love that quilt. There's something, all that architectural stuff to it, and it's just really, it resonates with the public a lot. And then they also said that there were 2 Garden Party Down Under quilts in that particular show. And then, of course, AQS shows right now. The Carol Berry's wonderful Color My World that she did out of wool, and she's done very well with that quilt. I had encouraged her to enter in shows, and she never, well, it's her first quilt, okay, so she never entered a quilt show before, because she never made a quilt before. So she did great with her first quilt, and she has put it out there. It was just in Grand Rapids, and before that it was at one of the other shows. So anyway, so we love seeing your pictures, and we love finding out when you're any of these quilts that have won awards. I know Ruffled Roses has won a lot of awards. I won Best of Show with a Ruffled Roses at my guild show a couple of years ago. So we try to pick these wonderful designs that will appeal to many people across the internationally, because we are an international community of quilters. So, okay. So I think that's it for me for today. And I look forward to, of course, you'll see me not so live in November, but I'll be back with you live December the 1st. And until then, that's a wrap.